What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel. On nootropics, on testosterone, on using nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, anything legal and within reason to make us feel, perform, and function awesomely. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit the bell to get notified of everything I'm pumping out. If you have the YouTube app on your phone, you will get notified of all live streams and all content that this channel puts out. A couple nootropic products support this broadcast. I'll explain them at the end of the video, but I wanted to quick say Black Friday starts now, okay? The coupon code BLACK saves you 25% off of the Cortex stack, the Torque stack, all of our courses, all of our books. I'll explain that at the end of this video, but for now, links are in the description below. Coupon code BLACK, 25% off everything, livecortex.com. All right, my friends, so I want to walk you through a process that I usually run into, well, that I basically have to execute when I'm consulting men on nootropics. And that is finding the template for their brain. Now, a lot of folks come to me with different goals, right? I mean, one guy's goal may be that his energy is completely lacking. We've got to get to the bottom of what that is, and he's trying to use nootropics to band-aid that. Where usually, I'm looking at labs, among other things, like lifestyle stuff, to figure out, well, what is actually causing your lapses in energy and your crappy energy state? How do we fix that first? Then how do we build upon that great state with nootropics to make you really, really function awesomely? In other cases, you have a person that you discover through, well, I discover, right, through 2 to 3 weeks of stack experimentation and looking at their results and listening to what they say about how the stacks are affecting them and analyzing what we should do and what their template is, that they function pretty good in terms of energy and general processing, but they have an overarching anxiety that is preventing them from either focusing for long periods of time, for staying on task, or generally feeling good enough and happy enough and calm enough to be productive for long periods of time. In which case, this is where templating comes into play. What is their individual profile? Where this is useful is you should be trying to figure out what your profile is and why you're using nootropics. Why are you using nootropics, right? You need to understand why you're using them. And in that previous case, this person's using nootropics to establish a flow state, and we really want to look at, sure, optimizing acetylcholine and perhaps glutamate receptors, maybe some dopamine, but ultimately, we want to optimize serotonin and GABA, right? If we want to tone down anxiety and induce calmness, we want to optimize serotonin and GABA. So some of the chemicals that we'd be bringing in that case would be picamilin, a great GABA alternative that actually crosses into the BBB and affects brain chemistry. Obviously, L-theanine, the amino acid, because that's going to give you actual higher quantities of brain serotonin and GABA. One of the most effective nootropic chemicals for longer-term resolution of a pretty intense anxiety in some cases, or just social anxiety that isn't necessarily panic-driven, but it's social interaction, lack of confidence, is fasuracetam. Exceptionally powerful compound via its GABAergic modification properties, particularly on the GABA B side. There's actually a paper that was published a long, long time ago. I'll see if I can hunt it down to put it on the screen, that describes fasuracetam's ability to make your brain create more GABA B receptors. But it's those kind of chemicals that we would use to address the profile of that person's particular brain, which is a brain that, again, functions pretty optimally, but needs help on calming the brain down, right? Because you cannot focus and you cannot be productive and you cannot get a lot done without flow. There's a perfect state the brain needs to be in. Energized, processing as well, acetylcholine is firing well, so you have your memory, your verbal fluency, your reference capacity, but also calmness, right? I mean, that's flow. It's all those things together make a good, solid flow state within which you can actually focus. Separate profile or template, right? Why are you using nootropics? This is what I'm trying to get at, and showing you the framework for how to actually use nootropics in a way that aligns with your true intention, which you should know behind using nootropics. A person has a dopamine problem. There's a lack of motivation, and this isn't an energy problem, right? Their energy's fine. They feel up to doing things, meaning they could, or their brain reservoir is fine to execute tasks, but they're not into it. They're not into anything. Now, that is usually a dopamine problem, a marked disinterest in things related to productivity or things related to anything in your life is usually a dopaminergic issue. If it isn't testosterone being substantially low, which you should always be monitoring and looking at because that may be the case too. But in that case, obviously, some of the first things that I would want to do is I'd bring in mucuna purines, right? A couple days just to see how they respond. Does anything get better when they're synthesizing more L-DOPA into actual dopamine? And the brain's got higher reservoirs of dopamine to work with. We'd be trialing things like modafinil and armodafinil to force dopamine released, add some extra wakefulness, see if productivity changes as a result of that. Once we establish what the profile actually is and what needs to be worked on, then probably in that case, I'd want to bring in 9-methyl-beta-carboline and have them run a 20 to 30 day cycle of it consistently without cycling off of it of like 30 to 50 milligrams, right? If there's dopaminergic work that needs to happen, which 9-MeO-BC has the ability to do via upregulating transcription factors for dopaminergic neuron creation, as well as fostering the sensitivity of dopamine receptor sites, then yes, that is something that we would want to work on. Like, I don't know if you're seeing the theme here. We wouldn't be able to determine which nootropic stacks to take in which frequency, doses, regimens, etc., if I hadn't figured out through the first couple weeks of experimentation what exactly this person needs. You know, people always come to me and say like, oh, I've got a focus issue, or I'm really not motivated, or the energy is shit, or my working memory and reference memory is pretty terrible and everything else is fine. So I've got a good idea of what's going on chemically in the brain and what we can try to address, but it's only after the experimentation period of their response to nootropics, and like say they're taking like a pretty cholinergic stack and it really isn't doing anything for them. Look, they don't need optimization to that system, right? And if the issue is lack of motivation, gotta focus on dopamine. If the issue is like a marked anxiety response, you know, in reaction to typical things that happen in life where one otherwise should not be anxious, we probably have to work on GABA and or serotonin, usually both. So rather than, I would invite you to think, rather than taking nootropics haphazardly just because you want some stimulation and some energy, you know, in some sense, figure out what your profile is. What do you need to improve upon? Your brain, when you sit down to do your most important work, or if you're socially not confident and you have anxiety, like what exactly is going on? You got to be pretty granular about identifying what the issue is, because that's the only way you're going to be able to identify which nootropics can address those issues. And whether you embark upon a journey of resolution of the issues by trying to repair the chemistry, which is a lot more difficult than it sounds and usually takes a lot longer of a period of time, you got to be very selective about the chemicals, or you're essentially trying to supplement, right? You're trying to give your brain what it may need for the time being so that you can get through the next 3 months or 6 months or whatever of some important period in your life. That's fine, but either way, you've got to know the profile of your brain. You've got to understand through experimentation which neurotransmitters need attention and which general categories, motivation, verbal fluency, mental energy, you know, memory, reference capacity, working memory, need to be worked on. And that is how you attack, you know, the system to make it better using nootropics. My friends, you always want to have an objective, okay? Look, it is totally cool and absolutely fine to just want to take a stimulating nootropic stack. It's actually awesome, right? Because if that usually indicates that all other things are correct, right? If your memory's fine, you're pretty motivated, whatever, you're just lacking the energy, you need that jump start, you need your blood to boil in the morning for you to fucking hit the to-do list, like totally awesome. But a lot of folks have more complex problems that they need to do a little more thinking about, instead of just throwing everything, you know, but the kitchen sink at something to try to get like some oddly stimulatory response that's not necessarily targeted. Some people have to be very targeted, and I would invite you to be one of those people if there is a major deficiency in your brain. For those of you that need help on this, we've got consulting for that. Hire me, livecortex.com, book a 3-month or a 6-month program. This is where we really get deep into allowing my 16 years now of expertise to identify exactly what the profile is and figure out why you need to be using nootropics, and specifically which nootropics and which doses and which regimens you need to be executing. So go hire me, livecortex.com, if you need to do that. There are slots open for the 3-month and the 6-month program moving into the next 6 months. As I said at the beginning of the video, coupon code BLACK, just BLACK, no quotes. saves you 25% on all of our nootropic stacks. I mean, look, if any of you are watching this and haven't tried Cortex, you have to try the stack. I mean, I'm 16 years in, I still take Cortex. It is very, very powerful for that dopamine-centered energy. Look, if you want to feel what it actually feels like to be uber motivated, to pump out content all day, to be growing, evolving, learning things, like I feel like I never stop. Sometimes at 11 p.m. I'm reading literature, trying to figure stuff out. I'm motivated by Cortex. That's what it does to you. 25% off right now, coupon code BLACK for Black Friday. I sort of referenced this example earlier in relation to Torque. Like, Torque is just like the energy stack. If you want tiger blood from the moment you wake up to like 6 to 8 hours later, get Torque. It is a very stimulating, energizing, motivating, process-enhancing nootropic stack. It is the most purchased nootropic stack on the internet. We are blowing through inventory. It is a revolving door. We keep having to order more because people just love the stack. And it was built to take pretty much every day. So I get the question all the time, can I take this nootropic, that nootropic every day? Can I take nootropics every day? And usually the answer is no, because most aren't built that way, especially racetams. But Torque is built to be sustainable so that you can take it consistently. Go buy TorqueLiveCortex.com. Coupon code BLACK saves you 25% right now on the mighty Torque nootropic stack. Nootropics God course, which teaches you at the 15-year level how to use nootropics. Some of the stuff that I'm talking about in this video, 25% off. Coupon code BLACK for Black Friday, my friends. Go to the website, go get you some nootropics goodies, save yourself some money. Links for all products are in the description below. You're gonna love our stacks, especially if you haven't tried them. And those of you that buy our stacks and know the power of our stacks, go buy another bottle right now of Cortex or Torque. Go re-up on product. Go buy more Cortex, go buy more Torque, because it's 25% off now, and we never run 25% off specials. This is literally the only time you're gonna be able to get either one of our stacks or both for extremely cheap. Pleasure hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much for being with me, and I'll talk to you soon.